Slate Stone Wealth's chief market strategist Kenny Polcari and Geltrude and Company founder Dan Geltrude. Kenny, I was looking at rising 10-year bond yields, 2-year bond yields earlier, and I was thinking to myself, maybe the markets are rallying right now because the bond market is doing the work of the Federal Reserve and that we won't see another interest rate. At least that's the perception of the markets. Am I anywhere close to what you're thinking?
Well, I think you're right. I think the Federal Reserve has done a very good job over the last couple of weeks of assuring the markets that they are going to pause again in November and that the bond market is, in fact, doing the work for them. And so they're happy to sit there. And you heard Patty Harkin on Friday, Philadelphia Fed Patty Harkin, say the same thing, that he thought that the bond market was doing the work and that he sees no reason to raise rates. So there is some excitement from that perspective, although I do think this rally that we're seeing today is a little bit ahead of itself. I think it's a relief rally that we didn't see, a breakout in the Middle East over the weekend. But that's honestly probably only a day or two away before you're going to start to see that. And I think that's going to create some more concern for the markets in the days ahead.
Well, concern, Dan, or right now you just don't see it at this point. And you wonder, is the market once again going to make the mistake of thinking, oh, no more interest rate hikes?
I think the market would absolutely be making a mistake if they think that rates are not going to go up at some point in time. Look at where we are, Liz, right? Over from when Joe Biden became president until now, inflation's up 17%. So how effective has it really been? Maybe it could have been 25. So I look at that and say, we're not controlling inflation. The Fed is going to have to raise rates.
Navigate it for me. Not to mention what we have at the moment. What do you like here? It's very hard to gauge, is it not?
Well, it's impossible to gauge, not to mention what's happening over in Israel.
I'm paying you to gauge. Your customers are paying you to gauge. Give me some names.
Well, listen, I like J.P. Morgan right now, okay? And I'll tell you why. Because of the way the financial institutions have handled the interest rate rise, some not so great. Look at those mid-tier banks. Took a beating because they couldn't withstand the stress test. Yeah. J.P. Morgan has done an incredible job with their net interest margin.
You also like Costco. Why?
Yes. Well, again, let's talk about inflation.
I hear you, Kenny. Stand by.
Right.
One second.
Kenny, hold on. Let's talk about inflation still. People need to eat, so they're going to look for bargains for food. Costco's the place to go.
Go, Kenny. Your turn.
Now, listen, I agree with Dan in terms of I think we do need another interest rate increase, and I think it's going to come at some point. But to his point, his comment about J.P. Morgan, Jamie Dimon came out. Do you know what they're paying on deposit? They're paying 2.75% on demand deposits at J.P. Morgan. Meanwhile, you can go to Fidelity Government Money Market Fund and get 5.1%. So, they raised the rates that they're charging on loans, but they didn't commensurate. They didn't follow it up with direct deposits. They could. It's going to put pressure on their margins, which is why they're slow to do it. So to Dan's point, is there some concern ahead? I absolutely think there is. But I, too, like J.P. Morgan. I own it. I like it. And I like Bank of America. That's coming out, I think, on Wednesday. Isn't Bank of America coming out on Wednesday? And I like that one as well.
Yeah, okay. All right. You guys are liking financials. I didn't hear any tech stocks. We'll get more on that coming up. Dan Geltrude and Kenny Polcari as Wall